Hey team, it's Ryan. You're listening to Life at UpKeep, a podcast about the people and teams in our company doing amazing work together. Through the eyes of our very own upkeepers, you'll get a glimpse into our amazing company culture, our team's big wins, small wins, and how members of the team came to join and hopefully love UpKeep. Today, I'm really excited. We've got Carl here, our senior customer success manager, here on the call. What's up, Carl?
Hey Ryan, how's it going?
So the way that we always kick things off, can you start by sharing a little bit more about your role at Upkeep and what some of your responsibilities are?
My main role is really just to be a consultant for our clients, right? Whether that's being a technical expert for them, right? Hosting team trainings to ensure that they understand how to properly navigate Upkeep, make sure that they understand how to utilize it, effectively and efficiently, and hosting strategic reviews right with them, right? But I think the main portion is really just ensuring that our clients have the tools necessary to be successful with Upkeep. So
How did you first find out and how did you first make your way into customer success as a department and as a role?
So I was in sales previously. I actually was out here in Denver, right? So I was actively looking for roles out in Los Angeles. And, at the time, I didn't really understand what the term customer success meant. I'm pretty sure just like a lot of other people, they probably thought it had something to do with like customer service or something like that. But little did I know, there was actually a lot more that went into it. So I actually came across a role for like an implementation specialist. And, I actually had a friend at the time that worked at that company. We went to college together. So I reached out to her. I was like, hey, what is this? Talk to me more about what you do. And she essentially was like, it's within this realm of customer success. It's kind of like the first stage that a client goes through once they pass through sales, and you're essentially a project manager. So I was like, wow, I killed it at the role. And that's actually kind of led me to becoming a customer success manager, just because as a customer success manager, it's a little bit more client facing and you have the opportunity to build relationships with clients versus as an implementation specialist, you have a lot of clients, but they kind of come and go, once they pass through that implementation phase. So definitely like the relationship building aspect of a CSM is really what, intrigued me the most.
Yeah, obviously, since you first joined the team, Carl, I could tell that you're always going to be one of the best customer success managers out there just because of how personal you are since the first day we met.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We've done a lot over the past year. Wow. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
how did you first find out about Upkeep and ultimately what made you want to join the team?
So Tyler, our amazing recruiter, he actually reached out to me to talk about Upkeep. I think one of the cool things about Tyler is, similar to what you said about me, he has a really good way of being personable with individuals, and I think that does go a long way. So within his LinkedIn message alone, I was like, okay, like let's give this a try, right? So I ended up having a conversation with Tyler. He gave me the pitch about what Upkeep was, kind of like, what we were looking to achieve at the time. So a big thing for me, with any company is that I want to believe in the product before I even join the team, right? So I have to believe in the product, especially if this is something that I'm going to be actively working with clients on. So not only did I believe in Upkeep, and I kind of put myself in the shoes of a technician. I was like, would I actually use this? And I was like, yeah, I would. This would make my job so much easier. But he also talked to me about customers over revenue. And that's actually a big thing for me, especially when I'm working with my clients. I don't just want to look at them as, another piece of revenue. I want to look at them as something bigger. I want to help grow their business. I want to do as much as I possibly can to really put them in a position to be successful. For those of you that don't know, Joe was actually a legend at my previous company. So when I actually found out that Joe worked at this company, I did some of my own research, and everybody was like, "Oh, Joe Schmidt. I mean, this guy, he's done a lot, right? He's done a lot for this company." And to me, I was like, wow, I have the opportunity to be able to work underneath him. That's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Why not? Right. And then when I met both him and Miji in person, they were so warm, so friendly, right? It didn't even feel like an interview. It just felt like I was having a conversation with a friend. And then I also got the opportunity to meet Ray, right? And she was a senior CSM, still is a senior CSM, I believe. And Ray, for those of you that haven't met Ray, Ray is a very warm and friendly person too. She knows how to brighten up any room when she walks into it. 2 days later, I got the call from Miji and Joe, and they were like, "We want to extend you an offer." I was like, "Let's do it." I was so excited. I couldn't stop cheesing. I had the biggest smile on my face. I was like, "This is amazing. Let's do it." I'm so excited. So yeah.
I'm curious, like what's a project that you're either working on now or something as you look back and say, man, I'm really proud of that.
I am working on a couple projects right now, but I don't want to, just throw it out there. I kind of want to wait until it's done, just so that everybody can see the finished project. One of the projects that I actually did get the opportunity to work on, I want to say, a couple months into me working here, was actually an opportunity to kind of create a process for some of our unmanaged clients that were essentially upgrading into becoming managed, right? Unmanaged essentially just means that there isn't anybody from the CS team working with them, and then managed means that there is, right? So there's this customer success manager that's working with them. They probably went through implementation, right? So essentially what we saw on the customer success side is that there was like a pretty large bucket of clients that were unmanaged, but they were adding licenses, doing things to essentially expand their account, which was then throwing them into our managed bucket, right? And the situation that we kind of came into contact with is that, when we did get these individuals and we were assigning them CSMs, their journey was a little bit different than maybe a newer customer, right? So meaning that their needs were going to be a little different, right? We couldn't go into this meeting, with the exact same slide deck and pretty much the exact same, spiel, if you will, as if they were a new client, right? We pretty much had to make a more I would say like a more detailed slide deck to really make sure that we're hitting every single area that they would essentially need more support on, right? And the thing that we found was that, unless we specifically asked these questions, unless we specifically touched on these certain subjects, they would even know that they needed additional support. So what I essentially did was I pretty much created a new meeting cadence. I pretty much created a really in-depth slide deck to go along with this meeting cadence. So that way, when we are speaking to these clients, I'm making sure that I'm touching on everything A through Z to ensure that, like, hey, you are good to go regardless of where you are within your upkeep life cycle, right? And then we can kind of continue along as if nothing had ever changed, right? So I was giving them the proper support that they needed, ensuring that, they were effective and efficient with their system. So that was one thing that I was really proud of, and something that we still use to this day. So
that's awesome to hear, Carl. And it just amazes me how much is going on in the customer success world, all the new things that you guys are rolling out. And
absolutely.
I just the part that I'm most excited by is obviously the impact that it has to our customers. I'm curious, Carl, what's something that you like and love about UpKeep?
I'll say right off the top of my head, the snacks that we would always have in the office. It was so terrible because every single time I get up from my desk, I would feel tempted to go over there and grab some snacks, but I would have to stop myself sometimes just so I wasn't eating too much. But to be honest with you, the number one thing that I really love about UpKeep is just how socially aware and adaptive of a company we are. Obviously, I'm sure, as everybody may know, 2020 is definitely going to be one year for the books, right? Whether it was the election, some of the riots that may have happened in Los Angeles, for those of you that are aware of that, COVID-19, a pandemic, right? So I think, for me, one of the things that really opened my eyes is just how adaptive we were when COVID-19 first hit, right? So obviously we went into a work from home model, we implemented that, and just the outstanding support that I received from everybody on my team, from yourself, from, some of the other people in ops. It was just crazy, being able to see how supportive we were, even though we weren't necessarily interacting with each other on a day-by-day basis. Like that was amazing to me. And I love that so much. Every single time that something negative would happen, UpKeep made an effort to publicize and say, like, hey, we're here for you. We understand what's going on. If you need somebody to talk to, like, please just reach out, right? And even that small email, or even making certain holidays available to us, right? That's huge, right? And it means a lot to me because it makes me feel like if I ever did needed to speak to somebody, I know that I could go to somebody at my work and I would feel comfortable being able to express my opinions on that.
We try our best. We know that we're not perfect. I know that I'm not perfect too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great to hear that, like, these things are recognized, and obviously we're changing on a day-to-day basis. We're trying to get better and improve. Carl, thank you for joining me on this episode of Life at UpKeep. If anyone on the team wants to connect with me too, shoot me a Slack, shoot me an email, Ryan@onupkeep.com. I hope to connect with everyone soon, and I'll talk to you later, Carl.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.